So let's kind of break this down. Let's really just, what I want to do is give you the equation and really talk about it, right? Because I think so many wholesalers struggle, right? This is the time for so many people to start changing their lives, right? We got the end of the year coming up, and this is when people want to start making that change. That's when people want to start actually making a change in their life. And to make a change, you must change. And the biggest change I find from people getting the first deal to not getting their deal, to getting that deal finally, is their mindset shifts, right? Once that mind shifts, everything changes, right?
Yeah. I mean, the truth of the matter, for you to become that person you want to become, this is going to hurt a little bit, but you actually have to change who you are. And that it's not a bad thing. You still have your core values, but as you get older and you mature, some people do it with age, but if you can force yourself, if you're young enough to understand how it really works. And the rule is, if you're going to follow what everybody does around you, you're going to get the exact same results as them. And so for you to go outside your comfort zone and say, we're not going to try wholesaling, you have to do it, is you have to commit to it and understand you're going to be judged by people that are not happy with you because you're not doing what they do. And if you let that change your belief system, you're going to get killed. I went through this over and over when I started out wholesaling, and understanding by being a wholesaler, you're doing the uncommon thing, and common people are telling you what you need to do. So only take direction from people that you want to be in their position and they validated it. So guys, that's one of the biggest struggles. You guys are all about the change. It's exciting. You get going a month or into it and you're like, my God, everyone's attacking me. Like, how do I keep doing this? So you're going to have to change. So why not, like a crab and a lobster has to molt out of its shell? You have to do the exact same thing.
Oh, I like
Some
that.
do it quicker than others. Some struggle. Some try to get back in their shell. But like once you've grown, the word grow means you can't fit back in that shell, and use that as your analogy to become the best wholesaler to make that change permanent.
You're giving some good quotes today. Let me give one quote I want people to do to sort of jack people up, right? Because the one thing before we break down this equation is, I'm just going to, you know how they do in medical school? They try to kind of weed the people out and try to give some scary statements and tests. So let me tell you a scary statement. You're going to have to work hard in this business. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no secret thing that's going to change everything in wholesaling real estate. None of that, right? It's all going to be hard work. And if anyone tells you wholesaling is not going to be hard work, it's not true. The thing is, wholesaling real estate, you can make millions of dollars, but the problem is, to make millions of dollars, you're going to have to work your butt off. It's anything in life. Think of any person that has gotten to an extraordinary feat in their life, man or woman. They all had to go through extreme adversity, extreme work, and extreme dedication. The quote I could tell you, which I've seen a lot lately, it's really cool. I don't know who said the quote, but if you want to buy something without looking at the price, you have to be willing to work without looking at the clock. And that's an important quote, right? So if you want to go buy something without looking at the price of it, you're going to have to work without looking at the clock, which means, no, you don't have to grind a million hours every single week, but you're going to have to work until the work gets done, not by the time you've spent. And I think this is one thing a lot of people have to understand, that stop focusing on how many hours you work, because that is not what this business is. This business is about taking the action and how you do the actionable steps, right? It's not about working 4 or 5 hours. For the average wholesaler to work 8 hours in a day, me, in my personal business, about 30 minutes for me, because I have the teams and everything set out. I'm getting more done with you in the course of an hour or two on this live stream. If I have a team of 5 cold callers, they're probably at 5 cold callers on 2 hours. They do 10 hours of work in 2 hours. Most wholesalers solo can't do that. And that's why we whoop our competition, but like, that's scaling to you. So just understand that, like, Warren Buffett in 8 hours can probably make 15, 20, 30, 40 million dollars. And in 8 hours, I can't do that. Okay. He's just so much better than me? Or like, no, it's scalability, right? You guys have to understand that. So let's break down this equation. This is the secret equation that's going to change everything, but this is the honest truth. Here it is. Actions equal results. Start thinking about that. Start thinking about what that means. And this equation means a lot more to me and a lot more to you than you probably imagine. What I mean by actions equal results is 90% of wholesalers out here, they care about results. That is the only thing they actually focus on. And this is the biggest misconception, and this is the biggest reason why so many people fail. So I see it in the comments too. I want to get my first deal. 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 That they care about the results. And when I ask everybody, and you ask this all the time, right? Mm-hmm. Rick, I didn't get my results. I say, okay, well, what's the action you took? Oh, I cold called 1 hour a day for a week and then I quit. Your actions are not equating to the results you want. So if I want to get a deal this year, by the end of the year, the action you have to take has to equate. They have to be equal. If they are not equal, then you will not get the results. So if I plug in the calculator, I want to make 50 grand this month. You're going to have to take the action it takes to get 50 grand a month. And we'll break down at the end of this how much action you have to take. But that's what you should be focusing on. And once you start shifting your mindset to that, first of all, you eliminate excuses, right? So here's the funny part. Zach, I didn't get my first deal. This is my favorite one, ready? Zach, this deal I got, the buyer fell through and I lost the deal. Don't say that. That is one of my biggest pet peeves. Buyers just don't fall off a deal just to say F you and give you the middle finger. And hey, I don't want you to become successful. Cash buyers don't do that. Cash buyers are smart. Cash buyers fall through and quit on the deal because number one, you probably locked it up too high or you haven't talked to enough cash buyers. My favorite is, oh, I couldn't sell the deal. No. All right. If you have a deal that will cash flow $1,000 a month and you locked it up for $1,000, I will buy the deal personally. DM me on a deal like that, right? Yep. That's an insane. There's always a cash buyer. There's always. It'd be probably me. Okay, worst case scenario. There's always cash buyers. The question is, did you lock it up for too high or did you not talk to enough of them? Once you start saying words like that, like the buyer just fell through. Like it's a normal thing for deals to be lost like that. No. Whenever I lose a deal, especially in this business this year, it wasn't because of it just magically fell off. There's an underlying reason to it. And when you have to start becoming accountable for your actions, the results will follow. So I'm telling everybody watching this, focus on the actions, eliminate. Don't even care about the results. All right. So like what that quote I said before, if you want to buy something without looking at the price, you have to work without looking at the clock. Don't be caring about the price. Be caring about the work it's going to take to get there, right? One really cool thing I always think about, and you say this all the time, which is always funny, but it's like, you don't have a spending problem, you have an income problem, right?
Yeah. It's so many people are looking like the pinch pennies and do stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, I spent a majority of my life through my 30s doing that. Is if people would just take that effort and focus on the income side, especially your wholesaling business, it will fix a lot of your problems, especially if you can plug the holes up in your spending. And when we talk about results, guys, you got to understand is you have to be willing to take that information, good or bad. Yeah. So sometimes you can do all the right things and don't get the result you desire. And that's how we teach how to do consistency and discipline. But so many times people are like, oh, a deal fell through, or like, I didn't get a deal. I called 100 people. Like you're focusing on the wrong information because the result, your action has to be, it's kind of like an algebra problem. So a guy who ignored algebra his entire high school career, like this is the part where your action has to exceed. Like everybody's so focused on result and they spend little time on the action. And if you just turn your action into like a machine and if you're brand new, you've got to add quantity to your action. So if like you're doing driving for dollars, if you're thinking about getting 200 leads, you need to get 1,000. You need to get 10,000, whatever it is, because that's how you make up to get the result. But don't go get 100 driving for dollars leads and expect to get 3 deals out of it, because your math problem is not going to add up to what you want it to be. So sometimes we get bad information and we have to use it, and you have to decide if you're going to pivot or not. And sometimes it's bad information on really good action. And that's the real challenging part in wholesaling is like, okay, do I stop doing this because I didn't get a deal? I had a guy on a live the other day. He goes, well, I did 2,500 SMSs and I didn't get the result I wanted. He only did it in 1 week. Like you guys, if you expect to get a deal that quickly on one, and by the way, that is one action, in my opinion, you're doomed to fail. Your expectation is not correct.
I've had days where I sent 5,000 texts in a day.
Yeah. I've sent out 20,000 pieces of direct mail, didn't get one phone call. I didn't quit. I just go, okay, am I doing something wrong? Did I miss something? And you'd be surprised. I've actually sent them out sometimes with the wrong phone number, just, stupid stuff. So just go through your basics. That's why we're big proponents of having a marketing plan and having a marketing budget, and understand most marketing campaigns, you got to give like a quarter. So everybody wants an instant result, but they don't want to put the action to drive it. The reality, if you're just starting out wholesaling, in the beginning, it's like pushing a boulder uphill. It's hard. You're going to have to leverage it, and you're going to have to push and get through it. So understand that going into it, and don't have this, if it doesn't work, I quit. Results give you feedback, sometimes good, sometimes bad. The problem is most of us go, if something really good happens, like take for your day, if something really good happens, let's keep doing it. The problem in wholesaling, if you react like that, you're running on emotion solely. So we talk about the art of detachment all the time. Set a plan in place, look at the results without having an emotional connection to the outcome, and then you can look at it as a business. But when you get all like ticked off and pissed, it's hard. So like, here's an example, direct mail. I get a deal. I'm like, we make 50 grand. Let's send out 100,000 pieces of mail, turn it way up. No, just keep doing what you did and make adjustments along the way. And that's how your action leads to great results. But this act of wanting instant gratification, it's not going to work in wholesaling.
No, you look at the best fighters of all time, right? Even look at TV shows and movies and like actual fighting in general. Yeah. You have to stay calm. Like if you get emotional with it, you lose your technique and you lose, right? Yeah. Now you could use emotions to get like energy, but like you're not going to use it for the actual battle of attack, right? You have to stay calm, look at the field, and then go from there and see what you got to do, right? When you get very emotional, that's when things just start.
Think about like two great UFC fighters, say they get together. What happens all the time, and like you watch the fight, I'm like, man, I don't know who really won. And then it goes to a judge, and one's usually a winner and one's a loser. Does the guy lost? Is he just going to quit and like move on? No, he's going to learn how to get, maybe he's going to work on his cardio or his grappling. So the next time he gets in that match, he can try to get it decided and figured out before it gets in the judge's hand. So like you have to understand your result is a derivative of how much action you want to do it. In the beginning, you guys don't have as much experience. The biggest thing you can impact action is quantity, like massive amounts of quantity, because it will make up for your inexperience.
And that's it. So here's the thing. It's about, a lot of wholesalers look at luck, right? Oh, you're going to get lucky to get that first deal or second deal, right? The thing about luck is it's a funny, finicky thing, right? And luck is like fishing. So I got a fishing shirt on, right? I love fishing. To go catch, let's say a marlin, right? If I go out there for an hour, try to catch a marlin, it's probably not going to do too well, right? Mm-hmm. But if I spend 4 hours a day for a week straight to find a marlin, do you think I'm going to get luckier to catch a marlin that week? Mm-hmm. It's kind of funny. Fishing, wholesaling, very similar, right? The more time I put into this, the more time I spend fishing, the more time I spend marketing, the better chance I am to get a deal to go catch that fish, right? Yeah. It's kind of funny, but the more work you put in this business, the more marketing, the more conversations you have with people who have ugly houses, the closer you are to getting that deal. And it doesn't guarantee it, right?
No.
But you just keep doing it. You're more lucky to get it, right? So if you want to go get jacked, if you work out more hours during the week, you're more likely to become more muscular. Now there's diet, all these other things, of course, but it's just, that's how it works, right? If you want to get better at video games, if you spend more time playing video games, you're going to get luckier when it comes to winning one video game, right? If you want to get lucky at making a shot in basketball, the more time you spend practicing, when it comes to the game time, you're going to get lucky becoming better, right?
But here's the analogy. Like take the person who's working out say Zach goes to the gym and he goes, I'm putting in 10 hours. He does like 1,000 reps, everything. And then that's it. That's all he did for the week. And then he's sore, doesn't want to do it. And occasionally he goes back. That's not going to help you. And that's what a lot of people do in wholesaling. They go all in 1 week. They don't get the result they want. And they go, oh, I'm done. I'd rather you be what we call farm strong, where you just every day keep pushing and applying to it. You guys know what I mean by farm strength. A farmer gets strength. They've never, ever been to a weight room, but like when you grab their hands, they could probably rip it off. Their grip is so strong. Why? Because every day, 7 days a week, they carry the buckets to the field. They feed the animals. They lift the hay bales. You have to do the same thing in wholesaling. You have to make the phone calls. You got to get your marketing list, and you got to be emphatical about it, meaning you just have to do it every day. And the repetition and the quantity over a long period is what's going to give you the result. Don't think you can push all your chips in and bang it out in like 2 days. It just won't work because you're just a blip on the screen when you do that. If the guy who does it every day, the repetition, they're going to get so much more exposure.
Depends on your intensity. So let me show you that. This is Dorian Yates. He was Mr. Olympia, one of the biggest bodybuilders of all time.
Oh, yeah, look at that back.
Now, Dorian Yates, obviously he was chock full of steroids, all that great stuff. But like, if he didn't take steroids, he'd still be a big dude, right?
I guess.
He's more muscular than you and me. Don't you agree?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. He spent, to get that big, 45 minutes to an hour at the gym. That's 4 days a week, 4 or 5 days a week. That's all he did. He literally spent an hour, 4 or 5 hours a week in a gym. That's it. So how does somebody like me, let's say, spends an hour at the gym, not as big as this guy, besides the steroids, right? Number one, he got a lot more done in that hour than I. Look at videos of him working out in that hour.
Yeah.
It was
He's not looking at his
nonstop.
phone?
No, it's nonstop, right? So I want you guys to understand this. Zach, I spent 3 months cold calling. Was your 3 months the same as my 3 months cold calling? Because my 3 months cold calling was 5 hours a day, Monday through Friday, every single week, nonstop, Monday through Friday. I didn't care. Just ran through it. Did you do the same thing in 3 months? Because I don't care that was 3 months. I care about how many calls you took. All right. Action is not how many hours you spend doing something. It is quantitative results. I want you guys to understand that. All right. It's just so funny because training and things like this is like, oh, I spend an hour. Me spending an hour running versus a marathon sprinter, or like someone's doing a 4-minute mile, spending an hour running. Mm-hmm. One person's probably in an hour is going to get a lot further than me, right?
But they've learned that over time and how to be efficient with it. So like a lot of times, guys, when I spend a couple hours in the wholesaling business working on it, you got to understand there's like 20 years behind that. 20 years. Like I didn't do this like overnight. And I kind of like when I go to work out, like I have a plan. I'm efficient, and I'm that guy in the gym like doesn't talk to anyone. Why? It's just I don't want to be rude. I didn't go there to make friends, man. I'm there for one purpose and one purpose only. And anytime I talk, it throws me out of whack.
You look miserable at the gym.
I am. I just want to get it over with, man. Like
you're miserable in the Stairmaster.
The Stairmaster's caused me a few issues, but we're working on that.
Guys, it's about the reps you take, but it's more important about how intense you take the action, right? And if you go all in, you'll do well, right? And here's the thing about action versus results, okay? If I spend an hour at the gym and all I did was calf raises, do you think my bench is going to do very well? No, right?
Your bench needs work anyways.
Oh my bench is pretty good. But what I could tell you is, I might say I did the action. Oh, I did calf raises all day. But if the general thing is to be healthy or have a good bench or be good at pull-ups, that's the wrong thing. So if someone might say I cold called for 5 hours today, but you cold called a pre-foreclosure list, that's not a good list to cold call. These people are getting loan sharks and bank servicing companies calling them. They don't want to answer, right? But if I cold call, let's say, a probate list for 5 hours, that's way better. So remember, there's a lot going on here, but just understanding the action you take, but also the type of action. So like doing the right list, the right skip tracing is going to be another part into those results. Because if you have terrible list you're calling, you have a terrible script, your actions are going to be terrible, and that's going to lead you to bad results, right? It's about taking good action, right?
So make sure you guys aren't doing like a checklist. I'd tell you 80% of the people at the gym, they go there. Why? Because they're checking it off their list. I have a huge pet peeve with people being on their cell phones the entire time while they're working out. But the thing is, don't cold call just to check it off of a list. Cold call to get deals. And if, when you turn the quality versus quantity, meaning you're like, I'm trying, when I get somebody on the phone, like I'm listening, I want to hear them out. You can't just say, well, I cold call, so I tried. I'm like, the word tried, that's the problem to start with. So guys, listen to what you're doing, look at the actions you're taking, and make sure they measure up to what you want to get done. The only person you answer to at the end of the day is who? Yourself. So if you're going to take an hour to cold call, rip through it, get the quantity done, and when you connect to people, make it work.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's talk about cause and effect, right? I think a lot of people do this, right? Think of the cause and effect. Don't care about the effect. Care about the cause that it's going to take to that effect, which is the same way of taking actions equal results. Shift your focus to the action, not the result. So one thing I want you to know, like, all right, so if you have like on your board, right? So you used to do this and you used to say this, right? It was real. You were used to write your goals on the mirror when I was like a kid, right?
In the bathroom.
In the bathroom, right? Like,
you know why, right?
Yeah, because that's what you see every day.
Every day.
But what I can tell you is that's right. But a better way to look at it for a beginner, right? Because there's big goals out there. I get it, right? But I think for most people, like especially with this video, is shift it up. What I mean by shifting it, don't write on the mirror, hey, I want to get my first deal. Write on the mirror, hey, I want to do 500 drawing for dollars leads, and I'm going to cold call them and send a text out. Mm-hmm. If you write that down instead of the first deal, you're more likely to get your first deal by just looking at the actions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you should have both of them. But if you're like first deal, you're like, oh shoot, what should I do? No, focus on what it takes to get that first deal. Might be 500 drawing for dollars leads. Might be cold calling 500 probates. It doesn't matter. But focus on those leads and calling them. I think a lot of people, we're still doing the drawing for dollars challenge, right? And we're getting a lot of people getting deals, great results stuff. But I think some people are like, they're focusing on how many leads they can pull. It's not about that. It's how many leads you can pull and call, right? Like it's a double whammy, right? And so focus on pulling the leads and calling them over getting that first deal, because just talking about getting your first deal is not going to it's not income producing. Doing leads, talking to sellers, doing appointments, giving offers, that's income producing, right? And really, even if you're looking at big goals, let's talk about a big goal right here, right? I want to make $100,000. What is it going to take next year in 2023 to make $100,000? What's an equation? I'll throw it out here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm
good at math.
Calling and texting 5,000 government leads. Fresh government leads, right? Monthly. That's most likely what it's going to take to make $10,000, $100,000. If you're making 10, 15, 20K a deal, right? So just think about that. Stop caring about 100,000 as the number. The number is actually 5,000. Pulling 5,000 government leads, skip tracing them, and cold calling them. And I would say texting on top of that, and probably calling that list maybe once or twice. That is what's most likely going to yield you the results. If you stop looking at the 100,000 from there, you're like, oh, I got to make a website. I got to do this crazy SMS text blasting. And then from there, I got to go pull this list. I got to get the software. I got to do that. Stop focusing on that. Focus on the government leads and get to work. If you start focusing on the actions, the results will follow. So if someone says, Zach, I want to make 100K, but I'm not 100K. How many government lists did you pull? I didn't pull 5,000. Okay, we'll do that and get back to me. Right? Like, that's it. There's no room to complain. The only room is to say, did I pull this? And if I did not, what's the course of action to change it? Start making yourself accountable. I can be accountable for yourself too, but like, I'm just telling you, you have to start looking at the action and the results will follow. And that is truly how you become successful in wholesaling. This was not a video we're making because we think it's going to get all these views. This is the honest truth.
It won't increase course sales.
It will not increase course sales, right? But this is a video I don't think a lot of people want to hear or want to see, but it's the video they need to see. And this is a video all about self-accountability to yourself. And when you're looking at the course of what you're doing, and I know a lot of people are serious about getting results, if you're serious about getting results, you got to be serious about your actions. And if you're not, you won't be serious about, making the money. So that's what I think about it, right? Actions equal results. And that's the honest truth. So let me know if you guys have any questions about that. Let me see if you agree. If you don't agree, I'd love to know. But yeah, that's pretty much it today on the equation to make you rich.